Hi. I should be going to bed because I just got in and it's crazy late. But I had a really good time tonight with some friends of mine going swing dancing. I've never really been swing dancing before, and I'm not very good at it so far because I just started. And that's the point. You know, I was still involved with this music that I've grown up with and been trying to play all my life and love so much. But now I was experiencing it the way my parents would have back when they were young, back in the 1940s, and when it was new music. And I realized what an important component this is. I remember at the very end of his life, and I was still in school, and so I read this interview in real time with Benny Goodman. At the end of his life, when he complained, he said, I think a lot of musicians today would think this is beneath them, to play for dancers. And he said, it's really a big part of our music, and it influences how we play. And I've read that in so many different accounts from band leaders and musicians alike, or I should say side musicians alike, when they'd say, man, when the dancers were really on it, it really affected how we played. Um, and the other thing is, of course, well, nobody expected me to be any good, and I certainly didn't expect me to be any good. It was just fun, and I was with friends. And, we get so bogged down when we're playing in wanting to do everything just right and at a high professional level and all. And that's, of course, important, but, it becomes counterproductive. And sometimes when you just let go and just play, sometimes that's when you do your best playing. And tonight was sort of a shortcut to that mindset, right? But in 6 years ago, right around now, I got involved with a production of Kiss Me Kate. Actually, so the summer of 20, yeah, it doesn't matter. At the Roundabout Theater, and they had me on stage playing a clarinet part. Um, Opening Act Two, the production number was called Too Darn Hot, a Cole Porter standard. And in the scene, musician, in this case me, would be outside a theater sort of noodling and warming up, and the dancers kind of came around and complained Too Darn Hot. But the choreographer director wanted someone actually playing on stage, and his feeling was that music and dance have become separated and almost become mutually exclusive in a lot of people's minds. Of course, music and dance are related, but he meant live music and dancers working together. And so he wanted to send the message that no, this is really what it's all about. And in the case of the Roundabout, the orchestra is in the theater, not in an orchestra pit. And then there was little old me on stage, and that sent his message. Similarly, I did a concert years ago. It was a tribute to David Merrick, and with a young arranger called Matthew Almond, who wrote beautiful arrangements. And at some point, the original cast of 42nd Street from back in the day was on stage dancing to one of his wonderful charts, for which he received a lot of compliments. The lady who had been the dance captain said, wow, you write great for dancers. But she says, if you really want to take it to another level, take a tap class. You don't have to be any good, but it'll give you a feel for how dancers think and feel music. And it reminded me that at my first job in Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia, when I complained to the choreographer, Dina DeHart, hey Dina, that my time wasn't as great as I would like it to be. She said the same thing, take a tap class or any of my dance classes. Just as an aside, that was one of the great and inspiring things about being at Busch Gardens was that the whole staff were accomplished in their fields. The park arranger had a long list of arranging credits, and you could go study orchestration with him. The one of the lead one of the heads of the entertainment department had his doctorate in composition. So if you wanted to bring compositions to him, you could. If you wanted to take a dance class with Dina or one of her assistants, you could. And it didn't matter if you were in the entertainment department or if you swept up behind the Clydesdales in the mornings when they ran through the park. Anybody and everybody in the park could take a class. And it was a very inspiring place to be, needless to say. So, and it helped. Sure it did. And again, no one expected anything of me, so it was all gravy. And it certainly helped the way I thought and felt about music. And it's been a long, long time since I've incorporated movement of any sort into my life, which is especially ironic being a person of Greek American heritage, and dance is a big part of our lives. And speaking of cultures, I took an African drumming class for a summer with the great Robert Levin, and he had us dancing. At some point, brought in dance teachers, and he said, "Oh yes, drumming and dance in African culture absolutely work together. You can't separate them." And so obviously, this is not just an idea of a few of us. This is culturally embedded in a number of countries and civilizations for hundreds, even thousands of years. So, what's my point? Get out there and get involved. And geez, the worst thing with dance, with art, with anything that tickles your fancy. Did I just say tickles your fancy? Oh dear. Well, I'm going to leave it in. Anyway, point is, don't be afraid to indulge in some of your other interests within the arts. Or even like a young friend of mine named Ben Harris, a wonderful woodwind player who just became a certified yogi, and a yoga instructor. He's a yogi. And he said it changed his life and his playing. So the worst thing that could happen is you'll just have a lot of fun, make some friends. You know, you might make a fool of yourself, and that's the point. Have some fun and loosen up, because sometimes, especially as woodwind doublers, when we get bogged down in all the little details of all our instruments, it's real easy to lose sight of what we're doing out here, which is just have some fun and inspire some other folks to have some fun. And the way the world is these days, this is especially important. We're allowed to take a break from the seriousness of what's happening in life right now, and at any time in life, because it's what we do. Okay, go have some fun and go practice, as my teacher used to say, but have some fun.